Say that Jill Stein pulls it off and she gets elected. Okay. She wants to drastically increase the amount of money that the government has access to by taxing the rich and increasing taxes everywhere. It's really easy for even the most well-intentioned people to drastically increase the amount of resources the government has, and then she wants to put a sticky note on it that says this can only be used domestically. Well, once you have such a power vacuum, you're not going to be calling the shots after this. You might get assassinated. You might not, you might say, well, Congress tied my hands and we had to spend the money now on warfare. So whether it's Trump Kamala or Miss Jill Stein, the most well-intended person, once you drastically increase the power of the state, you're no longer calling the shots. It's the equivalent of saying, we should give the Ku Klux Klan a ton of rope, the right to make legal decisions. We should give them the right to regulate things, and then they should be a nice organization afterwards. Well, once you give them that power, they have no reason to listen to you. Once you give the state even more money that Bernie and AOC and Jill Stein want to give them, they have no incentive to listen to you after that. And the politicians, of course, have no incentive to actually give you what you want because they're running for re-election and they're wanting to endorse their next candidate on the ballot. So, look, they just don't have the incentive. That's the basic lesson of economics. Look at the incentives people face. That's why this joke about Ron Paul was right, all roads lead to Ron Paul being right. JD Vance correctly said the other day that the problem with BlackRock is when you have a central bank, they're able to outcompete everyone else because they have access to lower interest rates. 7% for the average person, 1.5% for BlackRock. This is a huge problem when you have a central bank. The reason Ron Paul was so right about so many of these things is the average imbecile looks at the wording and the alleged intentions of certain legislations. Ron Paul would look at the incentives created by the legislation. So when he saw that Sarbanes-Oxley said, we're going to protect consumers from facing another Enron, Ron Paul didn't take that seriously, correctly laughed it off and said, well, this is going to increase barriers to entry for other companies, and this is going to create more oligopolies, and there will be fewer IPOs, initial public offerings, than there were in previous years because it's harder to become a company and have an IPO in the first place. And of course, he was right. By looking at the incentives, we're able to make better assumptions about what the future will hold because every person, evil people will actively lie and good people will come up with rationalizations afterwards.